I'm driving around the area I live in today, the Langley, Cloverdale area, and as I'm driving, I'm thinking about two things. This day is a really unique day for me. This is a 10-year anniversary since my first wife, Jada, passed away, went to heaven. She was sick with cancer for a number of years, and we saw many miraculous things happen during that time, but in the end, the Lord took her. So for me, today is a day marked with grief and reflection and memory. But also, as I think about what God does in the midst, I see the way He uses His power to bring restoration. And I think a little bit of the testimony of my life and the family that surround me now is a testimony of God's goodness and God's grace in the midst of tragedy, in the midst of separation, in the midst of hard and troubled times. This weekend, as we come to this Sunday, which is known as Pentecost Sunday, the Sunday in which we mark what God did in Acts 2 as He breathed His Holy Spirit upon the people gathered. He birthed the church. He brought together with language. He showed us the power of the Holy Spirit, tongues of fire resting on people, the gift of tongues released, interpretation, and basically the world evangelism starting at that time. I'm excited in the same way, and I feel like two stories at once, because in Cloverdale, where I pastor, there's 11 churches that are coming together to preach on the same passage in Ephesians. And Psalm 133 says, where there's unity, God commands a blessing. And I believe that God is going to command a blessing over His church this weekend as 11 churches in Cloverdale come together to talk about one passage and about the power of God through that passage. I hear it also, it's happening in Vancouver as well. So God is doing something. He is up to something in this area. We're believing for some good things this weekend. So wherever you find yourself today, whether you find yourself in the midst of hard times, of grief or loss or pain, know that God is a God of restoration, that He can make out of the ashes beauty. He can bring from the ashes beauty. And if you're going to be with us in church this weekend, this is an amazing weekend where we can celebrate the power of the Holy Spirit, where we can concentrate on the work that He does, the empowering work, the sanctifying work, the calling work, that the Holy Spirit reminds us of all the truth that Jesus has taught us. So come join us. Join us in pre-service prayer at 9:30, and come stir your heart for the things God has, and be intentional about what God's doing in your life. God bless, and have a great few days before Sunday.